Ecuador is the most biodiverse nation per square kilometer of any country in the world. Due to the fact that Ecuador is such an important country environmentally, it is important to note the various struggles that the country has with water pollution and purity for its people. A major issue facing the people of Ecuador is the fact that several multinational corporations have gained access to many of the water rights in their country. And this means that citizens of cities in Ecuador like Guayaquil are forced to either pay a large fee for their clean water or just go without it completely. In fact, 45% of water resources in the country have been privatized by multinational corporations and other types of corporations. So protecting and restoring critical waterways is really important for the people who need clean water, and it's also important for the animals that live in the environment around them. It is noteworthy to know that Ecuador is the only country in the world that declares fresh water as a human right for its people. Yet in the country, the wealthiest people have the rights to 64% of the country's fresh water. Another major issue in Ecuador is the search for gold in the rivers of the country. By bringing in people to search for the gold, Ecuador's water is being corroded and polluted by the machines and all of the people that mess with the water in the rivers. By doing this, it's ruining the drinking water for many indigenous people that rely on rivers like these. The following video explains this.
The Shuar's ancestral territory includes an area renowned for its biodiversity, the region around the Cordillera del Condor, the Andean ridge between Ecuador and Peru.
Los Shuar no solamente luchamos por nuestra vida humana, sino también defendemos la vida animal, la vida vegetal que están en nuestros territorios.
Copper and gold deposits in the Cordillera del Condor region could be worth tens of billions of dollars, but the Shuar want their ancestral territory declared an ecological zone in which all extractive industries would be banned.
Ahí están nuestros remedios, ahí está nuestra comida y lo que es más, ahí está nuestro Dios Arutam en nuestras cascadas sagradas. Por eso es lo que luchamos y por eso les resistimos y no lo vamos a permitir de que las máquinas maten nuestro Dios.
Other environmental issues in Ecuador that affect the purity of the water in the country are some things such as oil spills and mining in the country. The problems with mining in Ecuador are seen in the following video.
This is an area that is very sensitive, very complex, and it would be very difficult to control any contamination from having significant impacts.
James Kuipers is an engineer who worked in the mining industry for 15 years. Now he consults for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, local governments, and Native American tribes. He lives in Butte, Montana, a U.S. city with a long mining history.
In the last almost 30 years, we've learned a lot about what we can and can't do from an environmental mitigation standpoint.
Kuipers has worked for years on the environmental problems of a closed open-pit copper mine in Butte. It's about twice as wide and deep as the one proposed for Mirador. We asked Kuipers to review technical reports the companies prepared for the Quimsacocha and Mirador projects.
They're both mining in sulfide ore deposits, which caused my first concerns. A sulfide ore deposit, when exposed to oxygen, water, and bacteria, will form acid. That acid will leach metals, such as copper, lead, zinc, other metals that are deleterious to the environment or could affect human health.
Kuipers says the potential for water contamination at Mirador is great, given the proximity of waterways to the mine site and the high rainfall in the area.
The impacts can be enormous, and a good example is here in Butte, Montana with the Berkeley pit. You see an open pit after mining that's filled with highly contaminated acid water. And with all that precipitation, the ability of that contaminated water in the pit to leach out or leak out into the environment is very high. And it could end up that they're going to need to treat that water forever in order to keep it from contaminating the surrounding environment.
In conclusion, Ecuador is a country that has many problems with its water that can be fixed in many different ways through government help or through private institutions funding more accessible water. Ecuador can fix its problems and provide sustainable water for every person in the country.